Guys, I need to tell you something, Cyril blurted out, his face flushed. We were sprawled on Gareth's living room floor, empty pizza boxes scattered around us. I raised an eyebrow. What's up? Cyril took a deep breath. I like both of you. Romantically. The room went dead silent. I glanced at Gareth, whose mouth hung open in shock. Both of us, Gareth finally managed. Yeah, Cyril nodded, avoiding eye contact. My mind raced. Two of my best friends had feelings for me? How the hell was I supposed to handle this? Look, I said, standing up abruptly. We should talk about this later. Right now we need to get Gareth home. He's still recovering from that fall. As we helped Gareth to the car, the tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. What a mess. I'd never been in a situation like this before. One person liking me was rare enough, but two, and they were my best friends, for fuck's sake. This was going to be interesting, to say the least. Weeks passed, and things got weird. We tried to act normal, but there was no denying the shift in our dynamic. One night, Cyril announced he had a date. My stomach twisted unexpectedly. Oh yeah, I tried to sound casual. With who? Some guy from work, Cyril shrugged. Gareth paced the room, his brow furrowed. You sure about this, Cy? I caught the hint of concern in Gareth's voice. Was he jealous too? When Cyril got back, looking deflated, I couldn't help but feel relieved. How'd it go, I asked, trying to hide my curiosity. We didn't click. Cyril flopped onto the couch between us. I noticed Gareth's slight smirk. Interesting. As days went by, our hangouts became charged with unspoken tension. Lingering touches, heated glances, it was like walking on a tightrope of desire. One movie night, I found myself sandwiched between them on the couch. The warmth of their bodies, the brush of Cyril's hand against mine, Gareth's arm draped casually over my shoulder, it was electric. Fuck, I thought, my heart racing. I'm in trouble. I was deep into my novel when a thunderous knock jolted me from my reading bubble. Who the hell? I grumbled, dragging myself to the door. As I swung it open, an explosion of confetti hit me square in the face. Happy birthday, Gareth, and Cyril bellowed in unison, grinning like idiots. How did you? I sputtered, brushing confetti from my hair. Then it clicked. Gareth, you snitch. He shrugged, feigning innocence. Guilty as charged. They barged in, still singing off key. I tried to glare, but their enthusiasm was infectious. Guys, you didn't have to. Shut up and have some cake. Cyril thrust a plate into my hands. You have no idea how hard it was to get last minute. I took a bite and paused. Something was off. Okay, spill. What's in this? They exchanged mischievous glances. Ever had edibles? Gareth smirked. I burst out laughing. You two are unbelievable. I took another big bite, much to their surprise. What? I went to college too, you know. As the night wore on and the cake worked its magic, we ended up a tangle of limbs on my bed, laughing at nothing and everything. Cyril's hand found mine in the dark. Gareth's arm wrapped around my waist, and in that moment, buzzed and happy, I realized just how much I needed them both in my life. The morning after our edible adventure, we woke up in a mess of tangled limbs and fuzzy memories. My head was pounding, but the warmth of Gareth and Cyril on either side of me felt right. Morning, sunshine, Gareth mumbled, his breath tickling my ear. Cyril stirred, his hand still intertwined with mine. Did we? No, I chuckled, but the air grew thick with unspoken tension. It was now or never. I took a deep breath. Guys, I can't do this anymore. The pretending. They both tensed up. Cyril's grip on my hand tightened. I want both of you, I blurted out. I can't choose, and I don't want to. I think you both want this too. Silence. My heart pounded in my chest. Then Gareth laughed. A deep, relieved sound. Fucking finally. I thought I was going crazy. Cyril propped himself up on an elbow, his eyes wide. You mean it? Both of us? I nodded, feeling oddly vulnerable. Yeah, if you want that. Cyril's face broke into a grin. I've been dreaming about this for months. Gareth pulled us both closer. So what now? We just date? All of us. I shrugged, a giddy feeling bubbling up in my chest. I guess we figure it out together. Polyamory or whatever. I liked the sound of that, Cyril murmured, leaning in for a kiss. As Gareth's lips found my neck, I realized we were stepping into uncharted territory, but with these two by my side, I was ready for anything. The first few weeks of our new arrangement were a whirlwind of excitement and awkwardness. We were like teenagers, fumbling through this new dynamic. So, who gets to choose the movie tonight? I asked one Friday, sprawled across Gareth's lap while Cyril made popcorn. Gareth smirked. Rock, paper, scissors. Cyril returned, bowl in hand. Or we could just watch all our favorites. We've got all night, right? That night ended with all three of us passed out on the couch, limbs entangled, half-eaten popcorn scattered around us. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Jealousy reared its ugly head more than once. You two went on a date without me, I snapped one day, hurt burning in my chest. Gareth's face fell. We thought you were working late. We didn't want to bother you. We should have called, Cyril added, reaching for my hand. I'm sorry. I sighed, the anger deflating. No, I'm sorry. I'm being stupid. I don't want to be left out. Never, they both said in unison, wrapping me in a hug. We learned to communicate better after that. Schedules were made, boundaries were set, and slowly we found our rhythm. One night, as we lay tangled in bed, sweaty and satisfied, Cyril whispered, I never thought I could be this happy. Gareth hummed in agreement, his fingers tracing patterns on my back. I closed my eyes, basking in their warmth. Yeah, this was complicated as hell, but it was also perfect in its own messy way. Are you sure about this? I asked, my hand hovering over the post button. The photo showed the three of us, arms intertwined, at the local pride parade. Cyril squeezed my shoulder. We've got nothing to hide. Fuck what anyone else thinks, Gareth added, his voice firm. I took a deep breath and clicked. Our relationship was now officially public. The reactions came flooding in almost immediately. My phone buzzed nonstop with notifications. Holy shit, I muttered, scrolling through the comments. That bad, Cyril peered over my shoulder. Mixed bag, I sighed. Some support, some, not so much. Gareth grabbed my phone. Forget the haters. Look at this one, you guys are so brave. I wish I had your courage. The next few weeks were a roller coaster. We got stares at the grocery store, whispers at the coffee shop. Some friends drifted away, uncomfortable with our new dynamic. But for every negative reaction, there was a positive one. Like when we went to our favorite bar, and the bartender grinned, saying, first round's on the house for the happy throuple. One day, at a work event, my boss cornered me. My stomach dropped, expecting the worst. So, 2 boyfriends. Huh, he said, eyebrow raised. I steeled myself. Yes, sir. To my surprise, he chuckled. Well, I can barely handle one relationship. Kudos to you for managing 2. As I recounted the story to Gareth and Cyril that night, we laughed until our sides hurt. See, Cyril said, wiping tears from his eyes. It's not all bad. Gareth pulled us both close. And even if it was, we've got each other. That's all that matters. I nodded, feeling a warmth spread through my chest. We were out, we were proud, and we were together. The rest of the world could deal with it. You sure about this? I asked, fidgeting with my collar as we stood outside Cyril's mom's house. Cyril took a deep breath. No, but we've got to do it sometime. Gareth squeezed both our hands. We're in this together. The door swung open, revealing a tiny woman with Cyril's eyes. My boy, she exclaimed, pulling Cyril into a hug. Then she spotted us. And who are these handsome young men? Cyril cleared his throat. Mom, this is Gareth and, well, they're my boyfriends. I braced for the worst, but to our shock, she beamed. Well, it's about time. Come in, come in. I want to hear everything. Over dinner, Cyril's sisters peppered us with questions. So who asked who out first? Georgia, the youngest, leaned in eagerly. I chuckled. It's complicated. We kind of all fell for each other at the same time. Like a fairy tale, she sighed dreamily. As the night wore on, I felt a warmth I hadn't expected. This felt like family. Later, as we were leaving, Cyril's mom pulled me aside. You take care of my boy, you hear, she said, her eyes twinkling. Both of you. Yes, Ma, and I nodded, feeling a lump in my throat. In the car, Cyril was uncharacteristically quiet. You okay? Gareth asked from the back seat. Cyril nodded, wiping his eyes. Yeah, I never thought they'd accept us like this. I reached over and squeezed his hand. They love you, Sai. We all do. As we drove home, a comfortable silence settled over us. We'd faced one of our biggest fears and come out stronger. It felt like a turning point, like we could face anything now. Little did I know our biggest challenge was just around the corner. The text came on a Tuesday. Your father passed away. Funerals on Friday, short, cold. Typical mom. I stared at my phone, numb. Gareth noticed first. Babe, what's wrong? I showed him the text. His face fell. Shit. Cyril came in from the kitchen, sensing the tension. What happened? My dad. He's gone, I choked out. They both wrapped me in a tight embrace. I hadn't cried in years, but now the tears wouldn't stop. I'm coming with you, Gareth said firmly. Cyril nodded. Me too. We're not letting you face this alone. I shook my head. No, I need to do this myself. At first, anyway. You guys can come for the funeral. The drive back to my hometown was hell. Every mile brought back memories I tried to bury. By the time I reached the old house, I was a mess of nerves. Mom answered the door, her face a mask of disdain. You're late. Nice to see you too, Mom, I muttered, pushing past her. The next few days were a blur of arrangements and thinly veiled insults. Mom didn't waste a chance to remind me what a disappointment I was. By the time Gareth and Cyril arrived, I was at my breaking point. You okay? Cyril whispered as we stood in the funeral parlor. I shook my head. No, but I'm glad you're here. Mom's eyes narrowed when she saw us together. I hope you're not planning on making a scene, she hissed. I felt something snap inside me. Years of pent-up anger and hurt bubbled to the surface. But before I could respond, Gareth stepped in. Ma, he said, his voice ice cold, the only one making a scene here is you. As Mom sputtered in indignation, I felt a wave of gratitude wash over me. With Gareth and Cyril by my side, I could face anything, even the ghosts of my past. The funeral was a somber affair, thick with tension. I stood at the podium, my voice shaky as I delivered the eulogy. Dad wasn't perfect, but he tried. He was the only one who, I paused, catching Mom's glare. Fuck it. The only one who stood by me when I needed support the most. I felt Gareth and Cyril's eyes on me, lending me strength. I continued, my voice growing stronger. As I stepped down, Mom cornered me, her face twisted with anger. How dare you air our dirty laundry? I stood my ground. It's the truth, Mom. Deal with it. She hissed, tell your boyfriends to leave. You're making a mockery of this family. Something in me snapped. No, Mom, you don't get to do this. Not today. I'm your mother. And they're my family. I cut her off. The family I chose. The ones who love me unconditionally. Her eyes widened. I'd never stood up to her like this before. You know what? Maybe you should leave, I said, surprising myself. Dad would have wanted me here. He accepted me. Unlike you. Mom's face paled. Without another word, she turned and left. I felt a hand on each of my shoulders. Gareth and Cyril, flanking me like guardians. You okay? Cyril asked softly. I took a deep breath, feeling lighter than I had in years. Yeah, I think I am. Gareth squeezed my shoulder. We're proud of you. As we walked away, I realized something. The scared, insecure kid I used to be, he was gone. In his place stood someone stronger, someone who knew his worth. And it was all thanks to the love of these two amazing men. A week after the funeral, we were sprawled on our living room floor, surrounded by travel brochures. So I said, waving an envelope, "Turns out Dad left me a little surprise in his will." Cyril's eyes widened. "No way. How much?" I grinned. "Enough for us to take that trip we've been dreaming about. What do you say? Europe, Asia, anywhere you want." Gareth sat up, excitement sparkling in his eyes. "Are you serious? We can really do this?" I nodded, feeling a rush of joy. "Yeah, we can. So where to?" What followed was a chaotic but thrilling planning session. Cyril wanted to see the northern lights in Iceland, Gareth was all about the beaches in Thailand, and I couldn't stop thinking about the history in Rome. "Why choose?" I finally said. "Let's do it all." We spent hours mapping out our adventure, laughing and dreaming together. As night fell, we found ourselves tangled up on the couch, the travel plans forgotten for more immediate pleasures. Later, as we lay there catching our breath, I couldn't help but marvel at how far we'd come. "You know," I said, tracing patterns on Cyril's chest while Gareth nuzzled my neck, "a year ago, I never would have imagined this. US. Being this happy." Cyril kissed my forehead. "It hasn't always been easy. But it's been worth it," Gareth added. I nodded, feeling overwhelmed with love for these two men. We'd faced judgment, family drama, and my own past demons. But we'd come through it all stronger. "I love you both," I murmured. "So fucking much." They echoed the sentiment, pulling me closer. As I drifted off to sleep, wrapped in their warmth, I knew this was just the beginning. We had a whole world to explore together, and I couldn't wait to see where our love would take us next. Our story wasn't conventional, it wasn't always easy, but it was ours, and it was perfect in its own beautifully messy way.